Welcome to the exercise classroom, anatomical, biomechanical, and practical exercise education. Today's lesson, hip joint extension. Introduction. Hip joint extension is a joint action rather than a specific exercise. It is a fundamental movement that occurs in many compound lower body exercises, including the squat, deadlift, and lunge. It primarily involves extending the thigh backward at the hip joint. This movement plays a critical role in standing, walking, running, and jumping. Body contour benefits. Hip extension strengthens the glutes and hamstrings, which significantly shape the rear of the body. Toned glutes contribute to posture and balance, while defined hamstrings support the thighs contour. The movement. The action involves extending the femur posteriorly relative to the pelvis. It is typically performed from a flexed or neutral hip position into full extension. Hip extension is essential for generating power in walking, sprinting, climbing stairs, and jumping. It also contributes to pelvic stability and spinal alignment during locomotion. Exercise execution. Stand tall with a resistance band anchored behind you at ankle height. Loop the band around one ankle and stabilize yourself by holding a nearby structure or placing your hands on your hips. Keep the knees slightly bent and both hips square. Extend the banded leg straight back by contracting the glutes and hamstrings. Keep the torso upright, core engaged, and avoid arching the lower back. The movement should come entirely from the hip joint, not the spine. Pause briefly once the hip reaches full extension, then slowly return to the starting position under control without letting the leg swing forward. Proper technique. Maintain a stable pelvis and engage the core throughout the movement. Avoid arching the lower back to compensate for poor hip mobility. Work through a full, controlled hip range without involving lumbar extension. The thigh should travel back while the torso remains neutral. The most common mistake is overextending the lumbar spine instead of the hip, leading to spinal strain and reduced glute activation. Muscle mechanics. The movement starts with concentric contraction of the gluteus maximus and hamstrings to drive the leg backward. At the top, a brief isometric contraction holds hip extension. The eccentric phase occurs when returning the leg forward under control to the starting position. Primary movers. The primary movers in hip extension are the gluteus maximus, biceps femoris, long head, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus. The gluteus maximus is the strongest extensor, while the hamstrings assist and stabilize during the movement. Other muscle roles. The iliopsoas and rectus femoris oppose hip extension by flexing the hip. The adductor magnus assists gluteal activation, especially during hip extension from a flexed position. The erector spinae, obliques, and core stabilizers maintain neutral pelvic alignment and prevent lumbar compensation. Biomechanical considerations. Pelvic control. Maintaining a neutral pelvis prevents lumbar extension from compensating for limited hip mobility. Hip hinge integrity. Ensuring the movement initiates from the hips, not the spine, preserves spinal alignment. Resistance line. Using bands or cables aligned with hip movement direction improves resistance efficiency. Kinetic chain involvement. Proper ankle and core stability enhances movement control and reduces compensatory patterns. Training effectiveness and optimization. Glute engagement. Actively squeezing the glutes throughout the movement improves strength gains and reduces reliance on hamstrings. Controlled tempo. Using slow, controlled reps increases time under tension for greater muscular adaptation. Unilateral focus. Training one leg at a time helps correct imbalances and build symmetrical strength. Variable angles. Adjusting body angle or resistance direction can target the glutes more precisely. Safety and injury prevention. Avoid lumbar hyperextension. Maintain spinal alignment by preventing the lower back from arching excessively. Stabilize core. Engaging the core protects the spine and enhances control during movement. Monitor range. Avoid forcing end range extension beyond your mobility capacity to reduce joint stress. Use appropriate resistance. Select band or cable tension that allows full control throughout the motion. Variations and alternatives. Standing cable kickback. Offers constant resistance with precise hip extension mechanics and good glute isolation. Hip extension machine. Provides guided resistance in a standing position, allowing for controlled glute and hamstring activation. Reverse lunge. Combines hip extension with functional single leg movement for balance and stability. Barbell hip thrust maximal glute activation with high load potential and stable torso positioning. Hip extension is a foundational movement in strength and mobility training, vital for walking, running, and powerful lower body exercises. Understanding and mastering this movement improves performance and reduces injury risk across your training.